Oh, hello there! When I was a kid, when you were at a friend's house that had a little bit more unique comic books, he had Agent X9. Agent X9 was a Swedish comic collection of crime stories and agent tales and stuff like that. And my favorite was always Modesty Blaise. I mean, she was gorgeous. She had her, skin tight, very, very impractical black jumpsuit, and she had her bow, and she was awesome and stuff like that. And I always thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome if they made a movie about Modesty Blaise? Turns out they did in 1966. That's the movie we're gonna take a look at today from my gorgeous hotel here in Matera. Unfortunately, the movie is not as gorgeous as this hotel in Matera. It is rather a horrendously awful collection of nonsense. Let's go back to me about 12 hours ago. Thanks for that introduction, me, from tonight actually. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk a little bit about Modesty Blaise, aren't we? What is the plot? I have absolutely no idea. I have not a single clue. It is about some jewelry, evil guy. I know it's Gabriel because that is her arch nemesis and all that stuff. But this is one of the most confusing plots I've ever seen. Stuff just happens, and then it means absolutely nothing. Now, I want you to picture the first Austin Powers movie. I want you to think about the beginning of the movie, where Austin Powers is in the 60s and he's just, doing his Mary Austin Power things, and it is kind of funny. It's not a woman, it's a man, and all that stuff. That is really, really funny. Now, imagine that they would do the opening of Austin Powers for 2 hours. 2 hours of confusing, inconsistent, bad plots for 2 hours. When I started watching this movie, it took me about 5 seconds to realize that this was not going to be good. I know that you sometimes want to change the source materials a little bit. I know that you want to, try to, adjust something when you're going to make something into a movie. I know that. I get that. I have no problems with it, even though I sometimes do have problems with it. But this case is particularly bad. Changing the entire style, the entire tone, the entire motivations of the characters, and also making the movie look like a fucking joke is something I do not stand. It is too much. I was so angry. I was so confused. I was so fucking bored, and I was so fucking mad throughout almost the entirety of this. Stuff just happened, and then whatever. And some people may say that this is supposed to be a comedy, and maybe that was the case, but you should know that they made movies a little bit different in the 60s than today. And even with that, even if this was supposed to be a comedy, it is a complete failure. I think I would have more amusement seeing Matthew Broderick read the phone book for 2 hours. I would think I would actually find that more hilarious than watching this movie. And if this is supposed to be an actual spy movie, if this is supposed to be a spy film, like a James Bond-like thing, which they might have been going for, then it is an actual super failure, because the plot is so inconsistent, the characters are so inconsistent. Oh yeah, let's talk about that for a second. There is a sequence. There is a actual sequence in a cabin where Modesty, I think she's hiding behind a pot plant or something like that. And Gabriel spots her and says, "Ah, I see you there, and I've seen that you have changed into your old self," or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said because it was so stupid. And then, when Modesty Blaise is rising up again, then she has changed her hair color and her outfit. She has gone from the skirts and the blonde hair. Oh yeah, you don't make Modesty Blaise into a blonde. She is about as much a brunette as Dolph Lundgren and Pamela Anderson, which may or may not actually be brunettes, but I don't care. So she rises up from behind the pot plant and she has the very skin tight black jumpsuit or whatever it was, and the black hair and the bow, which has apparently come to her. She sits down at the table and he says, "No, Modesty, I prefer you to be a blonde." And in the next cut, she's blonde again. What the fuck am I watching? Speaking of what the fuck I'm watching, the ending of this movie is when, some ally of her, who is some kind of a sheik or a sultan or Arabic warlord or whatever he is, storms some kind of a fortress, which is filmed in Sicily, by the way, with hundreds of Arabic warriors in dinghies landing on the shores and being mowed down by machine guns, all while they're yelling, "Modesty!" That was the moment where I said, okay, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever watched. I really don't know what else to say. If you have any interest whatsoever in Modesty Blaise as a character, if you read the comics or whatever, then I think watching this movie would just make you sad. I mean, Terence Stamp is always good, and he could have worked as Billy Garvin, but then Modesty Blaise decided to bang Billy Garvin, which is like if James Bond would actually bang Moneypenny. It doesn't work like that, you idiot. And Modesty Blaise also sings a song. Granted, James Bond has sing a little bit of a song once, and it was dreadful, and let's never do that again. So that's not even a spoof of it. I'm just mad. When I started watching this movie, I said, oh, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen, but at least it's over soon. And then I figured out it's not over soon. A normal movie in the 1960s clocked in at approximately 95 minutes, unless it was, a monster major release or something like that. Then it could go on for, a considerable amount of time. But 2 hours, that was almost unheard of. All of the time that we're spending here with the stupid lines and the stupid characters. And at one time, when Modesty Blaise is walking around her merry way in, I think it was Amsterdam or something like that, she's being followed by the British MI6 guys who recruited her. And they're, discussing what she's doing, like they're on a bad commentary track to a DVD or something like that. And it sounds even dumber. It basically sounds, what is Modesty Blaise doing? She is clearly getting her assets in to secure information or some shit like that. It sounded fucking awful. Whew. Now, you should probably guess by now that I'm not a big fan of this movie. I think this is one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my entire life. And it doesn't really have any charm to fall back on. If you think you're gonna get some 1960s, movie charm to it, you're not gonna get it. It it just, it feels, this movie is just too dumb. If they would have decided to make an actual Modesty Blaise movie, the casting was correctly, you know, when she actually looks like Modesty and not some of the, not one of the fembots or something like that. And casting wise, this movie is actually not that bad, but it only makes me even more angry with it. Ugh. I could probably have enjoyed the cars. I could probably have enjoyed the architecture. I could probably have enjoyed the fashion and you know, the small little details, which I usually find very interesting to see in, you know, old James Bond movies. But this I can't. It is not possible, because this 2 hours LSD infused stupid nonsense just made me so angry. Oh, will you shut up? When I saw this movie for the first time, I actually thought it was the worst thing I had ever seen in my entire life. Now, since then, more than 15 movies have passed it. I will still maintain my opinion that this one is one of the worst movies that has been made for all eternity. Maybe you can find enjoyment in this movie by sitting down with your movie nerd friends and you know, cracking up a big bottle of whiskey or something like that, and just sipping away and laughing at how incredibly stupid this is, and see if you can figure out what the plot is. I sure hell couldn't figure out that one. But I see no reason why anybody should watch this ever. Even if you have no idea what the source material is about. Hell, even if you had no idea who Modesty Blaise was, this was going to be confusing as hell still, simply because this movie becomes even more confusing in that case. So I would say stay away from this movie. It is woeful. This fucking movie, this fucking piece of absolute horseshit of a movie. I give this movie 1 point. 1 measly point. This is not a movie, this is a 2-hour LSD infused cavalcade of absolute dumb. And I never, ever want to see it again. It's not funny, it's not entertaining, it is as long as a fucking visit to the dentist office. It never ever ends. I've never seen a movie made in the mid-2000s, but I think it has to be better than this one. It has to be, it absolutely has to be. Otherwise, what is even life? What is even existence? Hell, I'll see you next time from well so-and-so reviewing well such and such, not this one. Thank you for watching, thank you very much. Fucking hell.